On August 1, 2012, a single software error caused a company to lose $440 million in just 45 minutes. Not a bad investment. Not a lawsuit. Not a market crash. A typo. 45 minutes later, one of the largest trading firms in the United States was essentially bankrupt. All because of a mistake that should have been impossible. The company was called Knight Capital, and at the time, it wasn't some tiny startup running out of a garage. Knight Capital was one of the biggest trading firms on Wall Street. They handled roughly 10 to 15% of all stock trades in the United States. Think about that. On any given day, 1 out of every 10 trades in the entire US stock market went through their systems. They weren't small. They were infrastructure. Knight Capital specialized in something called high-frequency trading. This is where computers, not humans, buy and sell stocks automatically in fractions of a second. The idea is simple. If you can make a tiny profit on a trade and do that millions of times per day, you can make a lot of money. But this also means everything depends on software working perfectly. Because when computers are trading at that speed, there is no time for a human to step in and stop something if it goes wrong. And on August 1, 2012, something went very wrong. That morning, Knight Capital deployed new software to prepare for a change at the New York Stock Exchange called the Retail Liquidity Program. The update was supposed to help Knight systems interact with this new program and execute trades more efficiently. It was routine. Just another software update. The kind of thing companies do all the time. But one of Knight's technicians made a mistake during the deployment. The new software was installed on 7 of their 8 trading servers. One server did not get the update. Just one. And that one server still had old, unused code on it, code that had been written years earlier for a completely different program called PowerPeg, which had never even been fully used. When the market opened at 9:30 a.m., that one server woke up and started running the old code. And the old code started sending orders into the market. Millions of orders. Buy. Sell. Buy. Sell. Over and over again. The system wasn't checking whether the trades made sense. It was just firing orders into the market as fast as it possibly could. Imagine a computer with access to billions of dollars just randomly buying and selling stocks over and over again, faster than any human could possibly react. That's what was happening. And because it was high-frequency trading, it was happening in milliseconds. Here's the part that makes people say, wait, really? For 45 minutes, Knight Capital's computers were buying high and selling low. Over and over again. Which is the exact opposite of how you make money in the stock market. They were automatically losing money on nearly every trade, and they were doing thousands of trades per second. By the time they figured out what was happening and shut the system down, Knight Capital had lost $440 million. In 45 minutes. That's about $9.7 million per minute. About $162,000 per second. Gone. And it gets worse. Knight Capital didn't have $440 million sitting around to cover the loss. The company was suddenly on the edge of bankruptcy. Their stock price collapsed by more than 70% in 2 days. Clients started leaving. Investors panicked. The company that had been one of the most important trading firms on Wall Street was suddenly fighting to survive because of a software deployment mistake on one server. But here's the part that really makes this story unbelievable. The bug that caused the disaster wasn't even new code. It was old code that should have been deleted years earlier. The server that caused the problem had simply been forgotten during the update process. 1 machine out of 8. That's all it took. Within days, Knight Capital had to accept a rescue deal from a group of investors who injected about $400 million into the company in exchange for a huge ownership stake. The deal saved the company from immediate bankruptcy, but the damage was done. The following year, Knight Capital was acquired by another trading firm called Getco, and the company was effectively gone. One of the biggest trading firms in America disappeared because of a software deployment error. Not a recession. Not fraud. Not competition. A deployment mistake. And what's scary about this story is that nothing that happened was particularly complicated. There was no elaborate hack. No genius plan. No market conspiracy. It was a routine software update, one missed server, and old code that should have been removed. That's it. This story matters because it shows how fragile modern systems really are. The stock market looks powerful and complex and controlled, but behind the scenes, it's just computers talking to other computers at incredible speed. And if something goes wrong, it goes wrong very, very fast. Knight Capital didn't slowly lose money over months or years. They didn't have time to adjust. They didn't have time to react. The company was essentially destroyed in less than an hour. And the irony is almost unbelievable. Knight Capital made its money using speed and automation. The faster their systems were, the more money they could make. Speed was their advantage. Until speed became the thing that destroyed them. The same technology that made them powerful made them fragile. Today, high-frequency trading firms are even faster, even more automated, and even more complex than they were in 2012. Which means the potential for mistakes hasn't disappeared. It's grown. Because when humans make mistakes, it usually affects one decision, maybe one day, maybe one project. But when computers make mistakes, they can make millions of mistakes per second. And sometimes, that's all it takes. 45 minutes. $440 million. One forgotten server. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, subscribe to Forgotten Law Company. We upload new stories every week, and trust me, it only gets stranger from here.